Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Big Jiu-Jitsu Show. I'm Rob,
I'm Randy.
and we're back with another interview. We have Mr. Jack Cornwell here with us. He's going to talk to us about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and I guess everything else that you can fit into a podcast within a certain amount of time. So, Jack, thanks for coming on the show today, man.
Yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for having me.
And the way we start out every episode is, well, why don't you tell us
Mhm.
about how you got started in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or martial arts and kind of where
Yeah.
you're at right now?
Okay, how I got started. I guess you kind of got to go back a little bit. I was a swimmer for I think like 10, 15 years, something like that, since I have memory. And I had like a falling out with I mean, as much as like a kid can have a falling out with like my coaching and stuff, and I just like I had no sport, which was really it was really weird for me because you know coming up doing a sport like not having something all of a sudden it's just like it's a weird experience. So I my dad suggested we do judo, so I was doing that for 3 years or so. And it was at like a school, like not a bad school at all, but it wasn't really my cup of tea. And there's just no judo competitions. So after that, I was kind of talking to my coach, like, how do I compete in judo? And he said I should try to compete in jujitsu. So I started going to Shell Shock where I am now once a week just to like uh, get ready for like a competition. And then I never went back to judo after that. And now I'm a jujitsu guy.
I know the judo people may be sad hearing that, but no, it
Yeah,
is like, to be
yeah.
honest with you, the amount of jiu-jitsu competitions versus the amount of judo
Oh
competition,
yeah, yeah.
it's a lot. Like it stinks, but
Mhm.
unfortunately it's the way it is. So, and how long you been, so 3 years of judo, that's pretty significant. How long have you been doing
Yeah.
Brazilian jiu-jitsu now?
Since late 2019, and then obviously COVID happened like immediately, so I had like 4 or 5 months off because the gym was closed for a little bit. But I guess yeah, like 5, 6 years ish.
Nice. It's a great amount of
Yeah,
time.
yeah. The judo experience, I don't really count. We didn't really go live at that dojo, so I didn't look. I don't want to make it seem like that weren't a good gym. They're great people,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
definitely not the way I learned. So like whenever I went over to jujitsu, like other white belts were taking me down just daily. Like I was like, oh, I'm starting from zero again, aren't I?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, pardon me. It's just a different way of running stuff in the gym, I
Hmm.
suppose. I mean, like, I've
For
been to
sure. Yeah.
different schools where they're like, no live takedowns all the way up to we're going to spend 15 minutes talking
Yeah.
about what class was at the end of it. So, I mean,
Exactly.
everybody's gym's a little different, but
Mhm. I think I'm on the far side of that spectrum where I do all my training live now. I don't do anything but live training.
I know Randy's more of a fan of that too, so
Yeah.
we'll beat
Well, and
that drum.
I was getting ready to say, I mean, I think sometimes, you see people often come from wrestling to jiu-jitsu because,
Hmm.
they maxed out in their progression in that sport. Maybe they got done with college and there's nowhere to go after that. And they kind of transition into jiu-jitsu I think context matters. And I think that's why live training is so beneficial, right? Because,
Hmm.
I went to a judo school after, I think I was a blue belt in jiu-jitsu and I dabbled in judo. I wanted to kind of get better at takedowns and the standing exchange. And I thought that might help me. And what I found really quickly was like, well, when we did Newaza, I was mopping the floor with the black belt instructor because they don't do as much and context matters. That's just the reality. That's not a shot at the
For sure.
instructor. It's not the
Yeah.
shot at the instructor. I mean, the instructor would ragdoll me standing, right,
Hmm.
within the rule set of judo. But as soon as you add a different element, when the fight doesn't stop from a takedown, I
Hmm.
mean, and judo has some ground fighting, but the rule set really restricts it, and
Hmm.
so there's less of a threat of that. And unless you're, what is his name, Travis Stevens,
Yeah. Yeah.
unless you're
Yeah.
going against him, right? Like
Hmm.
it's just a different context, and so that, in my opinion, that matters. Did you see any any crossover benefit from your background in swimming when you got into grappling? Did that have any carryover?
I think it just made me just more of like a distance guy. Like I used to swim like 5Ks and stuff like that. So like I think I'm not like a really well, I wouldn't say not explosive, but like I'm not a sprinter. So like I can I do better in long like matches like that. Just I think from the swimming, and I have flexible shoulders. That's kind of it actually. But just from do this every single day, I they can bend a little bit further. I remember one of my first classes, we were drilling omoplatas, and John like was like yelling at me because I wasn't tapping. Sometimes he thought I was going to get hurt, but like my shoulders behind my head like every day. So,
I mean, with the swim, like, I know like swimming cardio, like the cardio workout for that is insane. So obviously it
hmm
makes sense that
it's
you'd have like
most of what that is. Yeah.
a whole giant gas tank in these matches. But I'd never thought about the shoulder thing because like now
hmm
it's my shoulders are just destroyed. So like I don't have that shoulder flexibility. So I'm a little jealous of that. But I
Yeah.
never like yeah, because I guess with all the movements, you're moving your shoulders just a whole ton,
hmm
building up all the
hmm
muscle in there.
It's a great base, I think. Obviously I'd rather have a wrestling base, but like it's a good one. I think it's like top five like bases for other combat sports because I know like gymnastics, wrestling, stuff like that will always be on top, but I think swimming is like a very underlooked one.
When did you start competing? I know lately you've been pretty damn active and in a lot of different formats, and I kind of want to talk a little bit about some of the crazy types of
Yeah,
competitions you've been jumping into
yeah.
also. But like when did that journey start?
I think I started competing about a year in. I had like two stripes on my white belt, maybe it's less than a year now that I think about it. But yeah, I just did like a Fuji my first one, and then uh, I loved it. I mean, I hated it during, but I think looking back, that's always when I compete. Like beforehand, maybe even during the match, I'm like, why am I doing this? But I feel so good afterwards that I immediately just sign up for the next thing. And I think that's even way back then. That's what I was doing. But yeah, I think that answers your question.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so you did a Fuji for your first one. You're pretty early on,
Mhm,
and you pretty much caught the bug, I guess, immediately, or is it more of like a
for
discipline
sure.
thing for you? Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me it's hard to do. I don't know if I do jujitsu if I couldn't compete. Uh, and I wouldn't even really call myself like this crazy competitive guy, but I don't know. Like if I'm not like trying to like be the best at it, it's hard to take it seriously if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Like I don't know if I could ever like do pickleball as a hobby or something. This is a weird example, just because like I would have to stop jujitsu and just like got to be the best pickleball player ever.
Right. Yeah. So
I
what
get
are, what was sorry, Rob.
no, I get it.
What's kind of like your crowning achievement at this point in competition?
Trying to think. I think it's just my Toro runs in general. I'm really proud of what I've been able to do on that card. I believe I'm 9-1 or 8-1, 8-1 on Toro. I think that's like my proudest stat right now. I love that rule set. I love all those guys. Yeah, I love Toro. Bagels is the best.
That's awesome. That's a real impressive run too. And are you what rank are you right now?
I'm a purple belt.
Still purple, dude. If
Yeah.
Rob, you got to roll with him. He's got a crazy game, dude. It's
Good.
very.
I'm all about. Everybody's just like, Rob, roll with this person. You need to see this shit. I'm like, okay, absolutely. Like as soon as somebody says that, I have to. So like, any
Like
crazy game I want to see, like I love it.
Yeah.
and I don't want to do. I want to stay on this competition thing for a second. I know Rob's got a
Mhm.
question, but just as a
Oh
caveat
no,
of
no, I'm
that,
good. That's
um,
basically the questions I was going with. So yeah, run through it.
that like kind of weird backwards guard that you play. Where did that come from?
Yeah. I'll try to actually think. Um, that's a good question where it came from. I think I saw, who was it? It was either Abraham the Mountain or Owen Jones who I saw do it originally. And I was like, that's stupid. But I think the fact that it's stupid is going to make it work a lot better. Just because like people don't like it, like no one's going to drill that, no, because you got to ask somebody like, hey, can we do reverse guard rounds? And everyone's gonna be like, no, I don't want to do that. uh, but in my opinion, I think it's one of the best leg entanglements or leg attacking positions because like what makes leg entanglements great is you got to attach the hip and like kind of straddle the knees with your knees. And you do that like perfectly with this position because you're legitimately attached to their hip with your legs like the best way you can. And both of their knees are isolated away and you can switch off to one or the other, put them both together. Like it's a great position. I used it yesterday twice. I didn't get a finish from there, but I kind of used it to get into an outside heel hooking position. And I ended up finishing there. So like even if you don't finish the spot or like finish it in the reverse close guard, you can get to 50-50. You can get to all these other spots.
I'm gonna have to look into that. That's kind of actually, well, yeah, I'll
Yeah,
pull that up. I need to have an actual like reaction to
It's a
the
crazy it
fuck.
is, dude. It is a frustrating
it is
experience.
really.
Okay, I see what
I
this
think
is.
the first time you uh did that to me was at the Roll for Ned.
Oh yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I
it was a
love
roll
it.
for Ned, and then you came by TFTC and we rolled again a couple times, and
Hmm.
I was like, okay, I know this guy, I know where he's gonna go with this, and but it's a frustrating position to defend
Hmm.
against because like you said, it's so foreign, and I
Yeah.
love that because obviously you and I are both into kind of like the more alive style training, having to be
Hmm.
adaptable, and you because you don't see this position hardly ever, you have no choice but to try to figure it out.
Hmm.
And I think it's a really cool thing, and not to mention you've got the right build for it too. You know, for playing that type of game, and
I think so.
yeah, Rob, if you can do this reverse guard, I'd be scared of you, bro.
Right.
Well, I know what I'm drilling this next week. Actually, I'll watch a bunch of videos because I just want to hit like somebody says, "Oh, it's hard to figure out." I kind of want to figure it out, so
I,
I'm pumped
I
for it now.
I get to it from like K guard, and I also do
Okay.
like a thing where I'll like false reap, but I'll go over like the chest area instead of feeding to the other leg, and you can
Yeah.
just spin through and grab the body with your legs there. Those are like the two ways I like to get into it, typically. But it's so versatile. I love it.
Okay. Sick. So we were talking a little bit more about the competition stuff. Even before the podcast, we were talking about, your grandma going up and correcting somebody about
Yeah,
their name because we if you've never been on the show or you're an avid listener, you probably understand like the importance of making sure I pronounce everybody's name correctly. And so I was asking Jack, making sure I was getting his last name correct. And turns out some people can't do that anyways, but what happened with that?
yeah.
You don't have to say like the name of the
Oh
company.
no, you're good. You're good. Yeah, it was my first Toro Cub, and it's fine. Flo has me blocked anyway. Uh, that's real, by the way.
Really?
No, yes, they blocked me on Instagram. I don't know what I did, but me and Flo have beef apparently, which is I'm way too little of a guy for that too. Like I don't know, it's whatever. Uh, but Flo Grappling had my name wrong at Toro Cup because they were with Toro Cup at the time, and my grandma went up to like the Flo rep guy or whoever it was and made them change my name from Cornwell to Cornwell. So that's the only reason you can find me on Flow Grappling now is thanks to my grandma. I was way too nervous. I was scared out of my mind, but
Yeah.
Do you think Grandma got you banned? Do you think that it's your grandma's beef with Flo that kind of just transferred to you?
I never thought of it. But probably not, just because I got blocked in like 2023, and that was like 2022. So I doubt it, but it's possible. I mean, if they held on to that beef, that'd be crazy. I
I
hope
mean,
not.
I don't know like who the hierarchy is over there. We had one of the old actually, I'd say the back that was a completely different company, but just I know some of the people that were involved with Flow. I might have
Mhm.
accidentally possibly also posted stuff of like, why are you hiring this guy? He still owes us money for or a documentary. I'm not gonna say the guy's name, give him
Yeah.
credit, but I mean, if I didn't get banned for that because I just hadn't checked
Hmm.
myself, like
Yeah.
you and Flow have beef, is what it is, like real
Apparently,
hardcore beef.
I think probably what happened was I probably like had a funny or maybe not funny comment that got a lot of traction and they didn't like it. So instead of deleting it, they just blocked me so I couldn't do it again or something like that. And I'm not really like active in comment sections, so I don't know, but I thought it was hilarious. I use that for marketing all the time though.
Well, I mean, it puts you up there with like some of the big names. Like I'm sure Craig
Exactly.
Jones is blocked by
Yeah.
Flow. Like.
Yeah,
Okay,
I don't know why that happened.
that's weird. That's weird. So, with some of these other competitions, I did kind of watch some of your videos that are floating around out there. Tell me about
Yeah.
the tag team
Oh my
event that
gosh.
you did.
Yeah. Wild event. Wild event. Garami just puts on just insane stuff. Uh, it was fun. I've done two tag team style things. My first one was just me and Doc. Uh, if you know me, you probably know he's like my main training partner. Like real good friend. And we got second in that, I believe. Really good showing. And it's in like a little pit. So like if you think about like the CGI pit, it's like that, except it's like circular and it's small enough that if you're both in 50-50, you can tag out. Like it's tiny,
Wow.
tiny. And the ability to tag out means it's really, really, really hard to sub somebody because like I mean I've been in like fully locked in rear nakeds and just tagged out and the guy's got to let go of me. Uh, but the second one we did was a four-man tag team, and there was I think four teams of four, and it was no time limit. And looking back on it, I probably should have realized it would have gone a long time, but that was a wild event. It was my team was me, Jacob Polanski, Lucas Lazax, and Tim Kennett. So great team. All the boys were there, but we got second again. I think we all got a bunch of like cool subs. One of my favorite showings we've had, but I ended up getting taken out by Fabio. Screw you, Fabio. But that was it. That was a long match. I think I had at least 30 minutes of mat time just like by myself. Uh, and the whole thing went on, I think, hour 40, something like that.
Wow.
It was wild. I love that I did it. I don't think I'd ever do it again. Uh, I just think the no time limit rules in general. I don't hate it, but I think the sport is going to have to slowly start getting rid of those to progress. I did one yesterday, and it kind of proved me wrong, to be honest, because it was no time limit, and every match went under 10 minutes. So I think they can work sometimes, but there's always guys who just don't really get it and kind of forget that if you don't sub this guy or get subbed, this will just go on till tomorrow. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
And I hate that. You know, we've all seen. I think it was Isaac Michelle and Kyle Chambers. Like Flo had to move them to a different mat uh, halfway through the card because they just assumed that someone would get a submission. But it's like when people are good, it's really hard to sub people. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I kind of like it where you have like the um, first 3 minutes submission only, and then the finals points. I think that's a pretty good kind of medium between
yes.
the two.
That is my absolute favorite rule set. I love Toro ADCC, that kind of style of rule set, just because I hate starting a match and being like, okay, what am I going to do? I have to stay up on points immediately, but you need points to like back you up and also to reward you for like the action. Like I hate passing people's guards, taking their backs, and I get nothing for it.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't really seem right. And I think the sub only style isn't the most exciting. Like, and I don't mean I mean like stylistically, like what's optimal for no time limit sub only is like double pull. Don't put yourself in any kind of danger. And that's not a very exciting rule set. But I mean, I've seen guys who make it work for them and are super exciting in sub only, but just like the optimal, perfect sub only rule set style for athletes just isn't that spectator friendly.
Especially if you want to put people to sleep, do a submission only in gi.
Oh, dude, yeah, I've seen a couple. They're snooze fest, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, because when you were talking about like the no time limit and stuff like that, I kind of thought back to like Metamoris, like those
Hmm.
matches, like 20 minutes sub only, but people are just playing for like if I could just last for 20 minutes. Like, how many draws did you
Exactly.
see on those cards? They're
Oh my
terrible.
gosh, constantly. I think the guys who are doing it right are PGF though. PGF is I don't know how they're doing it, but like it's just perfect what they're doing. Like everyone who I talk to, they love the rule set. Um, but and those have draws and are only 6 minutes. So I think a lot of it, the rule set helps for them, but it's just getting athletes who they don't really care. Like they either way, no matter what the rule said, they're just bringing it.
Yeah.
The guys on PGF, they won't get boring guys. They always like Nick Saff. I'm trying to think some of the other guys who are on this season. Bunch of really, really just exciting guys who they don't really care what the rule set is. Like they're coming for you.
The other thing you could do is incentivize, obviously, if it's a paid event, if you're talking about professional athletes,
Mm-hmm.
giving bonuses for submission victories and stuff like that for even if it's a point system, but I don't know. I kind of agree. I think when you look at the sporting side of jiu-jitsu, I think that points are important in that context just because it drives activity and keeps it entertaining and all that. And I think, but then
For
it's
sure.
also a conversation with your athletes, like they had the recent Battle of the Badges. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I was in Texas, so I couldn't even go. But we had some officers that had just started training jiu-jitsu, and one of them who never trained jiu-jitsu. All of his training came from in-service defensive tactics, and they went out there, and the guy who never trained before, ironically, won his match because
Wow. Yeah.
he's an athletic specimen. So I mean, anything physical, he just excels at. But
Mhm.
um, a couple of other guys, and one of them had only trained for a few weeks. One of my guys, and went against a guy that had wrestling background in high school and then 2 years of jiu-jitsu and had actually competed
Mhm.
before. So he had the cards were kind of stacked against him.
Yeah.
And he took
I
him
was
to
at
point.
that event.
Yeah, he took
It
him to
was
point.
great.
Took him to points and lost. And I told him, I was like, I wouldn't even hang your head about that. Your first competition, you've been doing jiu-jitsu for
No.
like three
Yeah.
weeks, and you went against a guy who's been doing this for a couple of years and lost on points. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, it's a loss, and points are necessary, but you didn't get submitted. That's fantastic. So there's benefit to both sides, I guess, is what I'm getting at.
For
But
sure. Yeah. Yeah. I think what makes jujitsu great is the variation of the rule sets. Like I don't think jujitsu should be an Olympic sport because then we would have to kind of all bring into one rule set. What's so cool as a jiu-jitsu athlete is, I mean, this weekend I'll have an EBI and like style rule set, and the next weekend will be like a IBJJF. And I love that. If it was just one every single weekend, I wouldn't like that as much. It's the fact that every time you compete, it's a new rule set, like new ways to game it, new ways to like
Yeah.
figure out how these work. It's a new style. Like it's almost a completely different sport every time you compete, and I think that's one of the best parts. Um, if you know what I mean.
No, I do know what you mean because like I agree 100%. I don't think Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu should be an Olympic sport. I know
Hmm.
there are people pushing for it because they'd be like, oh, it's a legitimate thing. Like, yeah, but in my opinion, like you said, you're going to have to get everything pulled together into one rule set. And I mean, like one of the best examples of that is judo and what happened with that. I mean, I'm doing the opposite. I'm actually doing judo now as well as
Mm,
jiu-jitsu. I started
that's
that.
sick. Yeah.
But with the rule sets now, like it's turned it into such a bureaucratic political thing where it's like you have are we following the actual true teachings or whatever? And then are these the true rules? And then like, no, these are actually the rules they used to be. And then I'm not fully like understanding all the what is it like the organizational beef or whatever you want to
Hmm.
call it. But like you go to the Olympics and there's stuff like techniques you can't do because it
Yeah.
is, disadvantage or whatever. Because I think the big thing was like, the Russians were double legging people to death like from
Yeah.
one Olympics, like no more leg grabs. This is unfair to judo or something like that.
Hmm.
Like it's
Yeah.
in the original rules, guys. Like, but
Like imagine what jujitsu would look like uh, if we didn't have those early EBI days. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
if it was still IBJJF and we didn't have kind of what like Gordon and Eddie Cummings did to the EBI, Jiu-Jitsu would look so much different right now. We need all these different organizations and different rule sets, like almost kind of arguing to be like, well, we're the best, because that's
yeah,
that's what's going to drive the sport forward.
yeah. Because that's just rule sets. Like it's not,
Hmm.
because I think Joe's got the whole governing organization of like we're the Olympic Judo Committee. You will do as we say or else.
Exactly. I've
Like
never heard of a different judo rule set. I'm sure there's a couple, but I mean, as
there's
someone from the outside, I just know the one.
yeah. I mean the one that is accepted by the Olympics. I've done like a couple Kozen judo tournaments, which is like
Oh, that's cool.
You fight on the ground, you can grab legs, you do all that stuff. And it changes
That's
the
cool.
game because now instead of just having to like walk at each other and grab your only legal grips you can hold on to forever, people can just single leg you or like
Yeah,
suplex you, and it's wild. But with going back to like the jiu-jitsu thing, like I agree. I think there needs to be a ton of rule sets as well because it also kind of keeps people in a I don't know if this is gonna make sense or not, like a skill based like promotion system with like and you can still be recognized by other people. What I'm
I totally
so,
understand. Yeah.
so it's like are you an IBJJF green belt? Like
Hmm.
no, like they're not the end all be all. There's like a whole bunch of
Exactly.
different people who do jujitsu and they're black belts and they're not part of you.
Yeah,
It doesn't make them any less legitimate. So like I think if we ever went to the Olympics, like I think that's what would actually kill most of Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
I agree. I completely agree there.
So, what other kind of crazy competition formats have you tried?
Let me think. Yesterday was I think I already talked about that, but yesterday was no time limit sub only, which I expected to be crazy, but I mean everybody got done pretty quickly, which was cool. I haven't. I think it's kind of Garami's definitely the craziest one I've ever done. Uh, man, I feel like I'm probably forgetting
And then
something
I,
wild.
I haven't seen it yet or anything, but have you done that Habe the Habe Bale fight thing that they're doing?
Oh, at Berlin Bear, I don't think
Yeah.
I'm doing this one. I
Okay.
think I'm gonna wait till ADCC Charlotte to compete again. Really trying to podium at ADCC Charlotte. I'm planning on doing double divisions. Um,
Nice.
yeah, I want like a really good breakout performance there. And I think that rule set favors me a lot. So I'm excited.
And then how do you and I had to go this way, Rob. I'm sorry.
That's fine. Let's do it.
So when you're competing in these different formats, and with your experience, your unique kind of experience going from swimming to judo to jiu-jitsu,
Yep.
and you've got this unique game about you with the reverse guard stuff, and it's a lot of variability, a lot of adaptability. How do you train and how do you train others? Because I understand you're coaching at
Yeah.
Shell Shock a couple times a
Hmm.
week, right? So talk about that a
Yeah.
little bit.
My own training schedule right now. I train twice a week in the gi, and the rest is no gi. I don't compete in the gi. I'm not like a gi guy, but I don't think it hurts your no gi, but it definitely doesn't make it better. So just because that's the way Shell Shock's schedule is, I do it. I only train live. I show up for live rolls. So everyone there's tough. Shell Shock's a very tough gym. Everyone there's older and bigger and like just super strong. I think it's like the furthest away from Raleigh, so we get like all the country guys and some of the like the working out tech guys. So it's like all like the tough people just kind of meet in there. But it's a great family gym. It's my home. Uh, and then Tuesday and Thursday, me and Doc Clark are the Nogi coaches, and we do exclusively CLA, just live stuff. Um, and then every Sunday, I'm sure you guys have seen Sunday service with Dakota. Uh, that kind of started as like an open mat last year, and it's turned into like the best Nogi training for competition, probably in the East Coast, if I had to guess.
Yeah, talk a little bit. I've been seeing it. Logan at TFTC has been talking about it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Love
It's
Logan.
it's been growing a lot. It looks super cool. I haven't been able to make one. It depends on work schedule and stuff like
Mhm.
that. But talk about it, like the vibe. What's it like on Sunday service?
I love it. It's very if it's like if CLA is over here and drilling's over here, it's in like the situational live part. Did I say CLA? Yeah, situational live where it's in my opinion, I do my newer people with like very specific CLA stuff, and my more experienced people when I'm teaching with more situational live. And since everybody who comes to Sunday service is at least probably a blue belt, we kind of do like situational live. So it won't be the idea of like staying under elbows, like these principles and stuff. It'll be language that jujitsu people understand, and like more just like start in the back, finish in the back, more like that. A lot of wrestling, a lot of leg locks, stuff like that. Every Sunday we do kind of like a King of the Hill style thing where we'll have people down on the and people on the wall. We'll circle through. Uh, I really like King of the Hill for getting people ready for competing, just because there needs to be like a middle ground between just like rolling with your friends and competing. And I think King of the Hill is a great way to have people, even if they're people you know and you're friends with, watching you roll, and that it kind of gets your heart rate going more, and it's just closer to what competing's like. But we do a lot of King of the Hill stuff like that.
No, that's cool because I mean, like Randy said, I've seen a lot of the Instagram posts of like how giant these Sunday services
Oh, they're
are,
huge.
and they travel all over too because it's not like
Mhm.
at one particular gym, right?
Yeah, so it started at Bull and Bear, and we still do it at Bull and Bear most of the time. But now every month or 2 weeks or whatever, we'll do it at a different gym. Actually, this morning it's going to be at Cape Fear Jiu-Jitsu, I believe, and it's Declan Moody is going to be there. I've got a wedding rehearsal to be at today, so I will not be able to be there. I'm pissed, but uh, that'll be sick. I'm excited for the guys to meet Declan. And honestly, what was it, 3 weeks ago? J Rod was at Sunday service, so like all the B team guys are just coming for some reason. I love it.
That's cool, man. That's real.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sundays are my park and recs day, guys. I mean, I can't do that.
the that rash guard that they came out with looked pretty freaking sick too, man. Um,
The Sunday service rush guard.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think just Dakota and Tony have it so far, but I think they're gonna start selling it soon or giving it away
That
or whatever.
that looks
I don't
sweet.
yeah.
If for no other reason, I might make it to one just to
To
justify
get one of
grabbing
those.
one of those rash
They
guards,
still
man.
look sick. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
excited.
How are the people? How I mean, like, is it is there a good douchebag filter on this or
Oh,
how?
for sure.
Yeah,
I don't really see like you got to be humble because you're gonna lose at least once, because you will get tired. You're gonna get tapped. You're gonna get scored on or whatever. Uh, yeah, it's a great vibe. Everyone there, like if you're a white belt, you can totally show up. You can totally get something out of it. But uh, I think like the competitors, even serious or not, just get so much out of it. Just because you need to train with other competitors, and it's a big problem I think in our local scene is a lot of the competitors are like spaced out into hobbyist gyms. There's not like a gym that has all the competitors at, which is good and bad, but this is like a great common ground for us all to come together and like get that working with each other.
No, I do like that. Yeah. And I mean, that's kind of the like North Carolina is kind of wide in like a
Yeah,
weird way. It's just like I've never been to a gym out here that's not been welcoming, that's not been, just like
for
happy to
sure.
have somebody come in or whatever. But it's also just sometimes it's hard to visit some of
Mhm.
these other gyms. So you want to go train with like go train, down with like Brian. I gotta go to Wilmington. It's a couple hour drive from
Mhm.
here. Even seeing like Randy and the TFTC crew, it's still like an hour drive for me some days if I
Where
want
do
to
you
go
train
do
out
that.
of?
I train at a fight house on the base over here, and then
Okay, cool,
I
cool, cool,
do
cool.
I do judo up at Sejukudan Judo in Sanford.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, yeah, 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 I know where you are. Yeah.
So I have no home. I'm just
Just a
TFCC will
nomad.
always be my home. I still rep
Yeah, yeah,
all the
yeah.
gear,
No,
but
I love TFTC too. Yeah.
yeah, but
that's Rob the Ronin over here, you know.
yeah. Well, I mean, my coach is in Australia. It's kind of hard to go get rolls in with him whenever I
Really?
want. So yeah,
Wow.
but there's a lot of great people here to train with, and I get, a great opportunity to meet, a lot of different competitors, hobbyists, whatever you want to call it, and go to these
Mhm.
gyms. But like you said, it's difficult sometimes because it's hard to get all those competitors together to
Exactly.
to work on one
Mhm.
day. And Sunday service, like from what you're telling me and what it looks like now
It's
too, with
that.
all that's it. That's what you
Mhm.
need.
Mhm. It's a little unfortunate that usually a gym will just make maybe one or two serious guys, and the rest will be hobbyists. Like no shade to hobbyists.
Mhm.
All my training partners are hobbyists. And that's gotten me to where I am now. But uh, I know in other areas, a lot of gyms it'll be like competitor gym, hobbyist gym. But here, it'll just like randomly a serious guy will just kind of like get birthed out of some random gym.
Yeah.
But it's a cool scene though. It works.
And I mean, I consider myself a hobbyist, you know. I absolutely, in full transparency, hate competing. And it wasn't always like
Mhm.
that. You know, as younger, I used to enjoy competing in martial arts tournaments and travel to
Mhm.
do it and had the bug. And then for some reason, I just kind of came out of it and trying to get myself back to maybe doing a little bit here and there. If I'm around Battle of the Badges next year, if they do it again, I'll probably
Yeah,
dive on that, you know.
that was a
Um,
great event.
but, you know, at the same time, I just love the grind. I love the hard work. And, you know, so like I guess I'm stupid in that way that I want to train hard, but for what? I mean, some of it is my job, you know, but like I just love hard jiu-jitsu rolls, getting after it, putting in work, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And, you know, Sunday service seems like a cool thing to try out. I'll have to make it to one of those.
Yeah, yeah.
But when you talk about the balance, and obviously you're a coach too, you talk about the balance between hobbyist and competitor.
Mhm.
How do you kind of traverse that at your gym? How do you make sure that the guys that are competitors are getting in the work they need versus the hobbyists that want to work too, but aren't preparing for a competition?
To be honest, I treat everybody like they have the potential to be like a serious competitor who wants to make this like their full-time thing. That being said, I never push anybody to the point where like just like, coach, I can't do this, you know, just because it's not beneficial to anybody. Um, in my opinion, and this may be a little controversial, uh, I think athletes beat, how do I phrase this? Athletes beat martial artists in a kind of a weird way. Not that I'm not pro martial art. I just think that treating yourself like an athlete is the best way to get better at something. You know, so as a hobbyist, if you're trying to get better at jujitsu, I think just kind of cosplaying as a competitor, even if you have no plans on competing, is how to get better. Um, like we're going to be going through a camp for ADCC. Most of the people in my room aren't going to be doing ADCC, but everyone's going to kind of pretend like they are, or at least I'm running the room as if they all are. And it's that like pursuit of getting better for something that really makes you get better at it. Like mine, I think it was two Toros ago. I had a match with a really, really good guard player. Uh, I'm sure you know him, Joshua James. Really, really good. He's beaten me before. One of the best, I think, guard players in the state. And up until then, my passing was really bad. I never really had to work exclusively from top because he's definitely more of a guard player than I am. So getting ready for that, I had to switch around my whole training and uh, just get ready for him as if I was a different athlete. And since then, now I think my top game and my guard are 50-50. I can be either way, or on top or bottom. I feel the same. Uh, I kind of forgot where I was going with that point, but does that make sense?
No, it does. It does
Okay.
make sense. And like, no, I agree with you. Like, you know, having been involved in different martial arts and stuff like that, if you want to compete, you actually have to be like, mindful of stuff outside the gym as well.
Hmm.
What you do today, like even though I'm not gonna get like rounds in today, if I go and I just eat like a sheet cake by myself,
Hmm.
like it's what's it gonna do to me tomorrow? Like I'm gonna probably
Exactly.
roll like shit. I'm gonna feel terrible. I'll be doing the double dragon, where you throw up and you crap yourself at the same time, like that. Like that's not
Yeah.
gonna help me train tomorrow.
Mhm. I
But
think what I was trying to say was it's the pursuit of that match
yeah,
that gets you better. It's not the like competing obviously gets you better, but at least for me, getting ready for somebody is how I get better. Like I need to like prepare for a guy for a few months to really push myself forward. And I think that's kind of how I run my room. It's like, guys, not really, but we're preparing for a really good wrestler. We're all going to get better at guard retention, or we're all going to get better wrestling. You know what I mean?
no,
Well, and I think too, like since getting my black belt, I've really tried to improve and get more serious, like even more serious than I was prior. And I think that the CLA structure helps that a lot.
Hmm.
Because you're training live the entire time and it becomes a little bit more competitive, but over smaller picture things. Like you're having to kind of narrow your focus a little bit and really develop your skill in these in these
Mhm.
different areas. And you know, what I've noticed is that like I agree 1000% the way you worded it was better than I'm saying it right now is that you have to approach this as an athlete in your intensity, in your focus,
Mhm.
in okay, I know that I suck at this particular thing. I need to work on improving at that. And that, you know, you can't you can't worry about winning every single role. You know, you have to improve your game incrementally and take it more
Mhm.
serious and deliberate and intentional. And since doing that and with the Friday class, the work we've been putting in, you know, it's even as a hobbyist, I feel like I've improved leaps and bounds. And I see the improvement in my room too. The people that come on Fridays consistently are just getting tough as shit. And you don't have to be a world beater, but if you decide to make that transition from hobbyist to competitor, obviously some
Way
things are
easier.
it's going to be easier, but you're just going to have to dial in a few more things
Yeah.
versus you go, I used to get too casual,
Mhm.
during rolls. You know, I would kind of give up position and just kind of be lazy. You know, that shit is gone. And if you want to get really good at jiu-jitsu, you have to make that shit go away. And
Mhm.
I think that I don't know what to call it, but there's got to be some kind of intermediate position between hobbyist
Mhm.
and competitor. There's something in the
Mhm.
middle.
Yeah. I like what you were saying about competitive with the small pictures. Like I remember, I think the first time I trained for an EBI overtime rule set, realizing that I don't think I've ever really tried to truly retain spiderweb armbar or maybe even the back. Yeah, this was years ago now, but like that was my first introduction to like situational live slash CLA. I know they're different, but same ballpark. Uh, and I think that was like a wake up call to me. Like, wow, I don't. You really have to learn how to enforce your will, and I think CLA and it just does that so well. Especially with guard passing, especially. Uh, CLA teaches you. I don't think there's anything you have to show explicitly or drill, but I think what CLA is especially good at is pinning and passing. So good at that. Obviously, it works for everything else too, but just if you watch the guys that exclusively train this way, they're good everywhere, but they're really good at guard passing. Really good at guard passing, and I've seen that in my room. Uh, everyone can retain guard, everybody can wrestle and leg lock, but everyone's got good passing, great passing, and that's helped my guard a lot. I try to play guard a lot less now, but whenever I get stuck on bottom, I hate it now. You know, like in my room, I want guard to be looked at as like a bad spot you get caught in, and it's unfortunate that in like the modern jiu-jitsu game, guard is kind of overpowered. I know that's coming from me, coming from like a guard guy, but I feel like that's me kind of taking advantage of that. Um, but I think as more people adopt this approach and more people just look into how to effectively pass, that guard will kind of once again be looked at as like you got to be a specialist to be good at it,
Yeah.
which is my hope.
That's what we just did this week. As I noticed that same trend in my gym was people getting, and myself included in that. Like I'm holding myself accountable. Is getting too
Mhm.
comfortable playing guard. It's an attractive thing,
It is,
right?
yeah.
And I wanted to get better at guard because I felt like my guard retention kind of sucked, and so I worked on improving that. But then you get stuck in that allure to playing guard, and I noticed that same trend with my group. And so started playing more games focused around top player, like pinning the bottom player's shoulders and then
Mhm.
working to pass. Bottom player having to keep their shoulder blades off the mat. If there's, I don't care if it was full guard. If top player pins your shoulder to the mat for both shoulders to the mat for 3 seconds, you lose. Like
Mhm.
you got to get off your back. You got to, and just to focus their attention toward getting up, sweeping or back taking, improving position in some
Mhm.
way. Like use the guard for what it's designed for,
Mhm. Yeah,
and not getting trapped, being comfortable on bottom because it's a
yeah.
bad place to be. And just seeing the effects of that in the room. I mean, even the top players' pressure was getting better, even though that wasn't necessarily what I was intentionally trying to do. I was trying to get guard player to say, shit, I got to get off my back. It still benefits the top player too and improves their pressure passing. So it's like a win-win. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just standing up is so underrated. Like you kind of, I
Yeah.
forgot who said this, but you just have to learn all the rules so that you can break them. Like I think it's important that in the beginning, you learn how to retain your guard, you learn how to like do things a certain way, but there comes a time where you need to just kind of stand up or just do it a little bit harder. You know,
Yeah.
do a more wrestling, a more I don't even country boy kind of approach. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but I like the idea of like learning the rules so that you can then break them. Because it comes to a point where a lot of the top guys like they're perfect in what they're doing, but also they just do it harder and faster than everybody else, and they just also have just like a screw it mentality where they'll just like, you know what, your jujitsu is bad. I'm gonna stand up out of your submission. I'm gonna just do this harder than you can, and that's how I get this takedown or whatever.
Yeah. Makes sense. I mean, like I do like that whole philosophy of the whole if I don't know the rule, like learn the rules so I can break them. Just because I think that's how we progress in jujitsu as well. Like the whole just stand up thing. I know that was like a joke for a while, but like you said, you're watching people just legitimately just standing up.
Yeah.
Like that isn't supposed to work. That's not supposed
Mhm.
to be like jujitsu is supposed to be. We're the shark and the ground's the ocean, whatever.
Mhm.
And people are just like, oh, I'm getting out of the water. I don't care. I'm
What
leaving.
blew my mind was learning how to like truly defend leg locks is just standing up. Um, I know that it seems like sacrilegious or whatever, but like if you can just bring your heel to the mat, you and stand up and put your weight on it, you really can't get finished, or it's at least really hard to finish. There's going to be some clip of me getting finished there, but like it's gonna be a lot harder to get finished there. Because you need to bring the heel off the mat to heel hook to straight ankle lock to do all these things. And if you can just stand on it and then just don't let them point your feet at you, you
Yeah,
really can't get leg locked there, or it's really hard to get leg locked there.
that's true. I'm gonna have to try that at
Mm.
some point, probably this next week. But Jack, we
Something I've been
do.
doing. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. Go ahead. No, no, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Something I've been doing with my guys is that the bottom player, like in this like situation, will do is just trying to keep the foot unweighted. So, however it looks like, just trying to keep the foot off the mat, and the top guy is just trying to put his foot on the mat and remove their feet from them. And I think that really teaches good entanglements, good guard, because enable to finish someone, you got to bring the foot off the mat. So just focusing on what makes that good every time, like the unchanging thing, is giving people a lot better leg locks. Because whenever I started with my room, everyone was, I wouldn't say scared of leg locks, but everyone was either nervous about them or just kind of wrote them off as something that other people would be good at.
No, it makes sense. It's always been like a weird, not a weird thing, but like it's a scary thing because as white belts, why don't you heel hook white belts? Because people are going to start blowing their knees out and stuff like that. So I mean, I agree with you. Like it's kind of I feel like it needs to be taught, but that's why it's a scary thing. But that's awesome that you're able to convey like good lessons and get them comfortable
Yeah.
with leg locks and stuff like that.
There's a few things that I think injure people. And if you constrain the games down to stuff that doesn't typically injure people, like I don't think I've ever had an injury in my class except for in full live rounds, because that's where you really can't control where it is. Like there's spots that there is like a potential for there to be injuries. But if you get rid of those spots, it's a lot safer. I would say it's like the safest way of training.
Cool. Well, Jack, I do appreciate you coming on the show today, man. It's
Yeah.
been a good conversation, and I really want to see some of these other competitions. So before we go, can you tell everybody where they can find you, like on Instagram and stuff like
Yeah.
that?
My Instagram is Jack is Gumby. I think it's really my only social. I have a YouTube channel. I haven't used it or I haven't posted anything in years, but I've got some of my like really old matches on there. It's called Gumby Jits, but that's like from a long time ago, so nothing's good on there.
Ah,
But yeah, Instagram is Jack is Gumby.
awesome. Well, dude, seriously, thank you for coming on the show
Yeah,
today.
thanks, guys.
Love to have you back on at some point too, talk
Love
more
to.
about some more of these awesome type of rule sets and like I'm all about it. So, but thanks, man. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you guys so
It's
much.
been a fun conversation, man. Definitely appreciate having you.
Thanks.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been another episode of the Big Jiu Jitsu Show. I'm Rob,
I'm Randy.
and we'll catch you guys next time.